My husband is the most skilled divine doctor in the world. He has a childhood sweetheart and junior apprentice who excels at making poisons. For over a decade, they played their game, she poisoned, he cured. Until I was poisoned so severely, I almost lost my life. When I woke up, he was writing a prescription while sighing. Don't blame Yuehua, she's just being childish as usual, she didn't mean to harm you. She knows I can save you, she's just trying to provoke me. Just as he finished speaking, Shin Yuehua's people hurriedly called him away. He left in such a rush that he didn't notice a missing ingredient in the prescription. The long-dormant system finally activated. You can only return home if you die by the male lead's hands. The antidote will become poison due to the error. Host, you may choose whether to take it. I handed the prescription to the maid, smiling, go brew it. Ding! This novel reminds you to click the subscribe button in the bottom right corner to read the complete novel. When Wei Sixing returned, the maid Lan Yu had just brought the freshly brewed medicine. The rising steam blurred his features. He removed his outer robe and smiled at me. What perfect timing, were you waiting for me to feed you? He took the medicine and walked toward me, skillfully scooping up a spoonful, blowing on it, and bringing it to my lips. I stared blankly. After all these years, I could finally go home. Seeing my hesitation, he raised an eyebrow. What's wrong? The medicine works best when hot. I smiled silently, took the bowl from him, and drank it all in one gulp. Perhaps I drank too quickly, causing me to cough repeatedly. Wei Sixing patted my back sympathetically while chuckling. Why such a hurry? No one's fighting you for it. Why are you so obedient today, not insisting that I feed you? I sat up straight, forcing a slight smile. No need, never again. He froze, his expression gradually darkening, his voice deepening. Are you still angry at Yuehua? He sighed and reached out to embrace me. She's just being childish, she's not bad at heart. Since you're fine, why not let it go? I subtly avoided his embrace, speaking softly. What if I hadn't survived? He paused, then shook his head helplessly, laughing wryly. How could that happen when I'm here? Right, my husband is the world's most skilled divine doctor, there's no poison he can't cure. Over the years, Shin Yuehua had poisoned me countless times. From major afflictions like blindness and muteness to minor ones like rashes and diarrhea. Wei Sixing always cured them effortlessly. Why would this time be any different? He gazed at me, his phoenix eyes twinkling with gentle amusement, wearing an indulgent expression. As if my ordeal was merely a farce to him. How did it come to this? In the beginning, he actually cared. When we were newlyweds. Shin Yuehua put starflower poison in my wine, causing severe itching rashes all over my body. Wei Sixing was furious, and after curing me, he drew his sword, vowing to sever all ties with Shin Yuehua. Yet within 3 days, he succumbed to her tears. Shin Yuehua had attempted to hang herself. When he arrived, she had kicked over the stool, leaving red marks on her neck. Wei Sixing held her, terrified and remorseful. She's hurting inside and just needed to vent. She didn't mean to poison you. Wani, let's just forget about this. When he returned, he rubbed his temples wearily and told me. That's when I learned he had once been betrothed to Shin Yuehua. He had promised her that if he had no one in his heart by age 20, he would marry her. Unfortunately, on his 20th birthday, he met me and fell in love at first sight. Shin Yuehua went into a frenzy, so he sent her to the southern border, determined to marry me. I've wronged her, Wani. We're husband and wife now, so please be understanding of her, alright? Since then, I kept stepping back, giving in again and again, until today, when she gave me a lethal poison. The system said that Wei Sixing had feelings for me. And if I couldn't let go, I could just let him discover there was a mistake in the prescription. He would surely feel extremely guilty and try his best to make it up to me and love me. I shook my head speechlessly. What use would I have for his guilt? It wasn't worth anything. But host, hadn't you already given up on returning to modern times? I fell silent. Yes, Wei Sixing treated me very well, making me feel that the task of dying by his hands was impossible to complete. Since I had no one to miss back in my modern home anyway, I might as well stay and accompany him. But I forgot that human hearts change easily. No, I should go home. It's just a month of medicinal soup anyway, I can wait. Xinhua Hua wanted to come apologize to me. I instinctively refused, that's not necessary. Nothing good ever comes from her visits. Wei Sixing held my hand tenderly. How can it not be necessary? You're my primary wife, I can't let you keep suffering grievances. I lowered my eyes. In the past I would have been touched, but now I just felt sick. People say Dr. Wei helps all with his medical skills. Treating officials and commoners alike with equal respect, truly a gentleman's manner. Even in family matters, he maintains perfect fairness and justice, giving no one reason to criticize. Unfortunately, while he aimed to be faithful like Buddha, he ended up more like a dog than the tiger he tried to draw. Xinhua Hua offered me a cup of wine. It was fruit wine made from peach blossoms, with an intoxicating fragrance. I didn't take it. I'm allergic to peach blossoms, and Wei Sixing knows this. Surely Xinhua Hua knows too, since the starflower poison that gave me a rash before had peach blossoms added. Wei Sixing winked at me. Drink it quickly, don't worry, I have the antidote ready. I won't let you suffer. Be good now, I forced her to apologize to you, so it's normal if she's a bit petty about it. Since she agreed to apologize, don't fuss over these small details. I smiled knowingly, took the peach blossom wine, and under his pleased gaze, threw it at her. The wine dripped down from Xinhua Hua's head, mixing with her incredulous expression, making quite a mess. Wei Sixing abruptly stood up and looked at me, his usually gentle face instantly turning livid. Perhaps because I was leaving this world soon. I felt bolder and didn't want to endure past grievances anymore. I smiled faintly. I told you before, I don't need an apology. Next time, don't call me for such a superficial show of peace and harmony. Wei Sixing slammed the door and left. He was in a great rage and didn't return for several days. In the evening, Lan Yu brought me medicine as usual, hesitating to speak. After I finished drinking, she finally opened her mouth. Madam, although the master hasn't returned, he sends someone daily to remind me to watch you take the medicine. He says Miss Shin's poison is potent, and missing even one day of antidote is not acceptable. He told me to watch you carefully. Lan Yu's expression was complicated. Madam, the master still cares about you in his heart. I forced a smile. So, he's this afraid of me dying. I wonder what expression he'll have when he discovers it was his own prescription that poisoned me to death. Cough, cough. I wanted to laugh but coughed up blood instead. The wooden table was stained crimson, startling Lan Yu. My vision darkened and I fainted. Right, with several poisons mixed together, my health was deteriorating rapidly. I probably couldn't last even a month. When I woke up, it was already dark. In the candlelight, Wei Sixing looked extremely worried and was about to check my pulse. He was covered in dust from traveling, looking like he had just rushed back. Unexpectedly meeting my just-opened eyes. He froze, quickly pressed his lips together and withdrew his hand, his expression unpleasant. Huawani, since when did you learn such tricks? I knew my antidote couldn't fail to cure you. If you wanted me to come back, you could have just said so. Why pretend to faint? I tucked my wrist back under the covers, turned away, and replied indifferently. If you don't want to be here, then leave. That was close, he almost discovered it. He choked, his expression softening instead. A hand rested on my shoulder, his voice gentle. All right, still throwing a tantrum over such a small matter? If you don't like it, I won't let her come anymore. Didn't you keep mentioning wanting to go to City J? In a few days, I'll take you back there, how about that? My heart stirred, and I nodded. My adoptive parents were in City J. Before going home, I needed to go back to see them anyway. Having him escort me would be fine too. Unfortunately, he still couldn't accompany me. On the day of departure, an epidemic broke out in City L. And Wei Sixing was stopped in front of the carriage. He looked at me guiltily, Wani. I smiled knowingly, it's fine, go ahead. Several commoners bowed to me, Mrs. Wei is truly righteous. I got into the carriage without looking back. Wei Sixing was a divine doctor, such things happened often. When lives were at stake, I never minded. It was right for human lives to take precedence over me. I just never thought that while everything could take precedence over me, Xinhua could take precedence over everything. Wei Sixing still went to City J. When I arrived, he was frantically testing medicines. Seeing me, he looked somewhat embarrassed and sighed helplessly. Yuehua was being reckless, testing poison on several households got reported to the officials. I need to quickly produce an antidote. What about the epidemic? I stared into his eyes. Wei Sixing hesitated, there are others. Then I knew, he never went to City L at all. Xinhua testing poisons on commoners was already a common occurrence. She would poison, Wei Sixing would cure. This back and forth had become their way of flirting. I had tried to persuade him before, but Wei Sixing only smiled indulgently. What can I do? She's my junior apprentice sister, I can only spoil her. That day I learned that the divine Dr. Wei Sixing, who showed mercy to all beings, would also treat human lives as worthless for someone. By the pond, I saw Xinhua leisurely feeding fish. She glanced at me provocatively, raising her chin. I told you earlier, Huawani, as long as I want, Wei Sixing will come to my side anytime. Do you believe me now? I closed my eyes briefly, those are human lives. She raised an eyebrow, so what? Sixing said no matter what mess, he would resolve it for me. Besides, they're just insects. Being treated by Sixing is their blessing. I didn't answer. Sooner or later she would know, these insects would eventually make her pay the price. I had already gathered evidence of her actions. Before I leave, I would send these to the imperial court. Wei Sixing worked hard for a while and finally made the antidote. After treating the citizens, he went to the government office to plead for Xinhua's case. After finishing all this, he finally remembered to find me. Yuehua wants to tour City J, I'll take her tomorrow, would you like to join? He looked at me with a bright smile. I shook my head in refusal. He seemed somewhat disappointed but also relieved. I needed to go shopping, but didn't want to go with them. My sister-in-law was about to give birth, and I needed to prepare some items. Perhaps City J was too small. In less than half an hour, I ran into them. My brows furrowed as I turned to leave. Sixing, do you prefer boys or girls? What if I give birth to one you don't like? My body froze as I stiffly turned my head. By the small window of the Golden Jade Tower, Xinhua was holding up several golden locks. Wei Sixing's face turned pale as he carefully covered her mouth. What nonsense are you saying? Be careful, someone might hear. Xinhua pouted, what's there to fear? She'll know sooner or later. Blood rushed to my head as I could barely stand. So when Xinhua apologized to me that day, they had already been intimate. Xinhua had poisoned herself, and only physical union could cure her. One was passionate like fire, the other half-willing. Wei Sixing hesitated before speaking, wait a moment, let me think about how to tell Wani. I couldn't bear it anymore and fled. Back in my room, my eyes were still red. I thought I had become hard-hearted enough, but how could years of feelings be forgotten so easily? A metallic taste filled my mouth. I wiped my lips blood again, along with stomach cramps. The dormant system suddenly awoke. Host, good news. After one more bowl of medicine today you'll be terminally ill, beyond saving even by immortals. You won't have to worry about the male lead discovering anymore. I put away my handkerchief and smiled, really? That is good news indeed. After dinner, Wei Sixing returned. He came close to me, eyes showing concern. Are you unwell? Your complexion doesn't look good. I turned away. It's nothing, probably just haven't taken the medicine yet. Why is today's medicine so late? Let me check. I froze slightly, about to stop him when I saw Lan Yu bringing the medicine. I relaxed as Wei Sixing took it with a smile. This medicine is bitter, but don't be lazy about it, it's life-saving medicine. Here, let me feed you. This time, I didn't grab it from him, but let him feed me sip by sip. Wei Sixing, this final lethal poison was fed to me by your own hands. I slept very deeply, dreaming of returning to modern times one moment, and of the good times with Wei Sixing the next. When I woke up, Wei Sixing wasn't beside me. I didn't ask much, and after eating prepared to visit my adoptive parents. Just as I was about to exit the second gate, I heard Shin Yuehua shouting angrily. Wait, 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 how long do you want me to wait? Are you that afraid of Huani? You promised you wouldn't touch her before the child is born. But I saw you coming out of her room, you even kissed her. Wei Sixing's face alternated between green and white as he lowered his voice. I told you, she's not well recently. Can't you wait until she's cured? 1 month at most, I'll give you an answer then. I tugged at the corner of my mouth, finding it amusing. What difference did sooner or later make? So I stepped out. No need for a month, let's do it now. Wei Sixing whirled around, his handsome face instantly turning pale. Wan Yi. In the study, our eyes met. Wei Sixing looked at me, eyes showing unease. That night was an accident. Yuehua was poisoned, she would have died if I didn't save her. Wan Yi. I had no choice, I couldn't watch her die before my eyes. Later when I wanted to stay away from her it was too late, she was with child. After all it's my flesh and blood, Wan Yi. I couldn't bear it. He was always troubled, always had no choice, always had reasonable excuses. He had so many reasons, but I didn't want to hear anymore. Tell me, honored concubine or co-wife? He was slightly stunned. I calmly repeated, then added. Or perhaps you want me to give up my position as primary wife to her? That's not impossible either. He anxiously tried to grab my hand. How could that be possible, Wan Yi? The position of primary wife will always be yours. I promise even if Yuehua enters the household, her status won't surpass yours. I curved my lips in a smile. I see, so co-wife it is. That's fine. His eyes widened in joy, gleaming brightly. Wan Yi, you agree? I smiled and nodded. From now on, whoever you want to marry or love, I won't stop you anymore. He sighed in relief and embraced me, his voice seeming choked with emotion. I knew it, Wan Yi is most virtuous and magnanimous, you won't blame me. You know, I've felt so guilty. These days I couldn't eat or sleep well thinking about how to explain to you, I've gotten thinner. Wan Yi, you must help me recover. Waves of nausea hit me as I calmly pushed him away. All right, go give your junior apprentice sister the good news. Due to Shin Yuehua's pregnancy, their wedding date was set very soon. In just over a month, Shin Yuehua entered the household. Emboldened by the child in her belly, her temperament became increasingly spoiled. Whenever in front of Wei Sixing, she would try to compete with me. From my courtyard down to a single jade hairpin, she had to fight with me over everything. Whenever Wei Sixing showed even a moment of hesitation, she would cry and make a scene, saying she had trusted the wrong person and might lose the baby. She's anxious during pregnancy and lacks security. They're just material things after all, Wan Yi, don't take it to heart. This was how Wei Sixing tried to appease me. Of course I didn't mind, as I couldn't take these things with me when I left anyway. So I simply moved to the side courtyard for some peace and quiet. But I never expected that even finding peace would be so difficult. Shin Yuehua fell into the water, right in front of me. When Wei Sixing arrived, she was still splashing in the water. After finally rescuing her, Shin Yuehua clutched her belly and cried that I had harmed her. It was blatant, obvious framing. I wanted to laugh, but couldn't. Wei Sixing stared at me intently, as if trying to see through me. He cared deeply about this child, I knew that, and so did Shin Yuehua. In the bedroom, he paced with his hands behind his back, his expression terribly dark. I didn't explain, nor did I want to. After a long while, he stopped pacing, his dark eyes gloomy, his voice hoarse. I know you didn't do it. Wan Yi, you are my wife, how could I not know your character? You would never stoop to doing such things. I raised my eyebrows, feeling a hint of warmth that had been absent for so long. But the next moment, it turned ice cold. But she's using her pregnancy to frame you, proving she truly feels threatened by you. Wan Yi, please apologize to her, just give in to her. I laughed, almost to the point of tears. Wei Sixing, are you sick in the head? He closed his eyes and let out a long sigh. I know I'm wronging you, but Wan Yi, I have no choice. She's insisting you must pay a price. What price? After hesitating for a moment, he turned his head away. She said if you take the infertility medicine, she'll let this matter go and won't pursue it further. Then he looked back at me, his gaze earnest. Wani, your body already can't conceive, so taking it won't make a difference. Just humor her, all right? My heart turned ice cold, and I pulled at the corners of my mouth. Wei Sixing, you know why I can't conceive. It had been so long, I had almost forgotten that I too had once been pregnant. Unfortunately, less than a month along, I lost the child. The reason was that bowl of starflower poison wine made from peach blossoms that Xinhuahua had sent. That rash didn't ruin my looks, but it took my child and my ability to ever conceive again. I know, I've wronged you. He hung his head dejectedly, his knuckles white as he gripped the desk, looking extremely tormented. Only then did I notice how much he had wasted away in the days since Xinhuahua had married in. Wei Sixing took a deep breath and looked at me persistently. Wani, she comes from a humble background and doesn't know better, but you're different. You're educated, virtuous and gentle, most understanding. You can't conceive anymore, and I can't watch her continue making trouble everywhere and risk losing this child. Just this once, if you give in to her this time. She promised me she'll take good care of herself and won't trouble you anymore. Wani, I'm begging you, please? In the future her child will be your child too, just think of it as for your own flesh and blood. Slap! I couldn't listen anymore and struck him across the face, stopping his next words. I moved close to him and said word by word. Wei Sixing, you disgust me. Not getting the result she wanted. Xinhuahua cried and made a scene, smashing things in the courtyard to pieces. To comfort her, Wei Sixing revealed that I could no longer bear children. But even this failed to cheer her up. I don't believe it, Sixing, you're lying to me. You just like that wretch Huani, you just don't want to give her the infertility medicine. You clearly only want her children and don't want mine. Xinhuahua became hysterical, pounding her belly forcefully. Wei Sixing was shocked and scared, hurriedly embracing her while trying to coax her softly. Another chaotic scene ensued. When Lan Yu came to tell me about these things, I was taking painkillers. Perhaps because my time was approaching, the poison attacks were becoming more frequent. Sometimes when the pain hit, it was unbearable. I swallowed the pill, feeling my stomach ease a bit. As I felt the pain slowly subsiding, I forced a faint smile. See? The drama continues. With Xinhuahua's temperament arrogant, domineering, and extremely possessive. She had somewhat restrained herself before getting what she wanted. But now her true nature was fully exposed. With her carrying on like this, not only would Wei Sixing be unable to bear it, but whether her pregnancy could be maintained was still unknown. Sure enough, a few days later Wei Sixing came to find me. Under the corridor eaves, his expression was gloomy, having lost considerable weight in this short time. He looked at me, his eyes devoid of emotion, and said directly, Yuehua lost the baby. I looked up, remaining non-committal. Are you satisfied now, Wani? His voice was flat, but I could hear the suppressed storm beneath. I didn't answer. The next moment, he struck the doorframe with his fist. His dark eyes tinged red, almost bleeding, looking at me with hatred and anger. Huani, when did you become so cold-blooded and heartless? If you had just been willing to apologize, how could Yuehua have ended up like this? How could she have lost the child? Even now, don't you feel any guilt or compassion at all? Only then did I realize he was blaming me for Xinhuahua's miscarriage. I couldn't help but laugh bitterly. When I miscarried, did Dr. Wei ask if your dear junior sister felt any guilt or compassion? She didn't mean it. The defense came almost instantly. If she didn't know better, did you not know better either? After speaking, as if realizing something, he waved his hand, his expression defeated and dejected, stumbling back a step. Enough, there's no point saying more. I will stay with Yuehua these days to take care of her. Don't come to the front courtyard to upset her. Wait until she's better, then I'll come see you. Take care of yourself. Wei Sixing kept his word. After that day he never came to my courtyard again. I heard that under his careful care, Xinhuahua gradually recovered, and her emotions became more stable. As for me, my illness grew worse, and I became increasingly pale. Lan Yu was both happy and worried. Now that Madame Shin is much better, the master should come see you. You must have him examine you properly to find out why your illness is getting worse. I smiled without saying anything. Either way, as the system said, even immortals couldn't save me now. So it didn't matter if Wei-Sixing discovered it. Finally, on the second day after Lan Yu spoke, Wei-Sixing came. However, he didn't come to treat my illness, but to send me to prison. Someone discovered Yuhua's poisoning of civilians in City J. And I was also reported for not going to City L to treat the epidemic because of her. Now the Emperor has summoned us. She's just recovered and can't take the shock. I've already had people report to the authorities that you were responsible for the City J incident. Since the people know I was originally supposed to escort you to City J. Wani, if you just take the blame for Yuhua this once, I'll never bring up past grievances again, alright? He looked at me with a complicated expression. At dawn, the misty air veiled his face, and it was as if I was seeing this person clearly for the first time. The joy and wonder of our first meeting, the tender moments under the begonia tree, the passionate vows on our wedding night, all these past memories flashed through my mind. Finally freezing on this cold, unfeeling face before me. I suddenly remembered that begonia flower at the foot of Mount Wuang. I should never have accepted it. Then I wouldn't have made so many years of mistakes. After a long while, I heard my own voice, all right. He hadn't expected me to agree so readily. He paused for a moment before nodding. It's good that you understand. Don't worry, you're my wife, they won't do anything to you. At most. He pressed his lips together, saying no more. Indeed, since Dr. Wei was the Empress Dowager's honored guest, they naturally wouldn't do anything to his wife. At most, it would just be a few days in prison. In exchange, I asked for a full jar of painkillers. He became somewhat nervous, asking where I was hurting. I curved my lips perfunctorily, my heart hurts dash. He fell silent, lowering his head. I smiled mockingly, brushing past him. I'm joking. Marrying you was the biggest regret of my life. The figure beside me suddenly stiffened. The day I left for the capital, besides taking the medicine pills, I also took a brocade box with me. Inside it contained evidence of all the deeds Shen Yuhua and Wei-Sixing had done over the years. Although the current Empress Dowager favored Wei-Sixing, the Emperor was not someone to be trifled with. If he knew these two were playing with people's lives, he certainly wouldn't let them off easily. What I needed to do was bring all this before the Emperor. This was also why I agreed to Wei-Sixing's request. Everything went smoothly. The only unexpected thing was the painkillers. Wei-Sixing had deceived me. What was in the medicine bottle wasn't painkillers, but aphrodisiac pills called spring breeze pills. So when His Majesty asked what I wanted, I requested a prescription for pain relief medicine from the Imperial Hospital. The poison attacks became more and more frequent, with pain appearing intermittently, almost making me wish for death. My face was as pale as paper, and I had to wear a veil even when going out to buy medicine, afraid of frightening passers-by. That's when Shen Yuhua appeared. She gleefully pointed at one of the medicines in my hand and happily called out, "Husband, I found it, there's Polygonum multiflorum here." She had grown plumper, her complexion rosier than before. It seemed she was indeed living very well without me around. Following her call, Wei-Sixing strode over, glanced around and smiled. "Stop being silly, don't you see this lady has already bought it?" Shen Yuhua pitifully tugged at his sleeve, pouting. "I don't care, I want this one." Wei-Sixing sighed, helplessly tapped her nose, then turned and bowed deeply to me. "My wife needs this Polygonum multiflorum for medicine. Would Madame be willing to part with it? If so, I'm willing to pay double the price." The shadow of an old him overlapped with the person before me, hazily remembering he had once made such requests to others for me. Only now, I was the one being asked. I smiled faintly, my hoarse voice unpleasant to hear. "What if I say no?" Wei-Sixing's figure suddenly froze. Lan Yu appeared at the right moment, anxiously rushing to my side. "Madam, how did you come to buy medicine alone?" "I've been looking everywhere for you." Wei-Sixing shifted his gaze to her, then quickly back to me, his voice slightly trembling. "Wani?" The veil fell, revealing my deathly pale face. "What do you mean by this, Dr. Wei? Trying to snatch my things to give to someone else again?" He was slightly stunned, about to say no. But seeing Shin Yuehua's expectant look, he pressed his lips together and said, "You don't understand medicine or poison. What do you need this polygonum multiflorum for?" I laughed coldly. "What's it to you? And I haven't asked Dr. Wei yet, when did the painkillers in this bottle turn into aphrodisiacs?" I pulled out a small bottle from my sleeve and threw it on the table. Wei Sixing looked somewhat embarrassed, turning his head away and saying stiffly, "Yuehua was being mischievous, she secretly switched the medicine. I thought it would be useless for you to have painkillers, so I didn't question it." Shin Yuehua also came closer, curiously opening the medicine bottle, giggling. "Why are you so angry?" "It was just something to help you have some fun." Shin Yuehua again. Thinking of all the suffering these days was because of her. A wave of intense disgust suddenly welled up in my heart. Not knowing where the strength came from, I grabbed the pills and forced them down her throat, gripping her chin. "Well then, let's help you have some fun too." She was forced to swallow several pills, choking and coughing. Wei Sixing pulled me away and threw me aside, looking at me in disbelief. "Hua Wanyi, have you gone mad?" Supported by Lan Yu, I barely managed to stand steady. I had gone mad, should have gone mad long ago. That package of polygonum multiflorum never did return to my hands. As for Wei Sixing, after disappearing for 3 days, he finally came to see me. His eyes were dark-rimmed, his steps unsteady. It seemed those few spring breeze pills had nearly drained him completely. Standing just steps away, he looked at me coughing, with what seemed like concern in his eyes. "Wanyi, why do you look so unwell? Did you suffer any grievances in the palace? I was worried about you, originally wanted to come find you in the capital. But Yuehua insisted on coming along, saying she wanted to create new poisons. That's what delayed things." Seeing my silence, his eyes darkened as he continued. "Since you've safely left the palace, let's put the past behind us. From now on, the 3 of us can live well together. Yuehua may be naive and straightforward, but she has no ill intentions. If you could be more understanding and guide her, things will get better. In a few days it's Yuehua's birthday. She comes from a rural background and has never had a proper celebration. I want to hold a grand celebration for her, to formally establish her status as my co-wife. Wanyi, please help arrange it, Yuehua will be grateful." I found it somewhat amusing. Why should I care about her gratitude? What relation is she to me? Why should I be understanding of her? Where does such presumption come from, Dr. Wei? Not expecting my direct refusal, Wei Sixing's face turned red, choking on his words. I had no intention of saying more, pulled out a paper from my sleeve and laid it on the table, sighing. "Let's divorce, Wei Sixing. If possible, I hope to completely sever ties with this person before I left." Wei Sixing looked up, staring in disbelief at the 2 words on it. "You want to divorce me? Is it because of the polygonum multiflorum? Or because of Yuehua's birthday celebration? Wanyi, are you making trouble with me too?" I had no intention of arguing with him, directly ground the ink and passed him the brush, saying seriously, "Sign it, and you'll know whether I'm making trouble or not." His face alternated between pale and flushed, before he finally stormed off without a word. Wei Sixing was angry again. He brought Shin Yuehua to live in my courtyard and made a grand show of preparing for a birthday celebration. While the courtyard was bustling with activity, I was left cold and alone. What's worse, I had the prescription but no medicine, making my body aches even harder to endure. Lan Yu tried every way to go out and buy medicine but was driven back. The housekeeper coldly threw out a line. "Without madam's permission, no one is allowed to leave." This madam referred to Shin Yuehua. Wei Sixing deliberately let her manage the household to spite me. When rolling in pain, I asked the system when I could die. The system hesitated, saying it should be soon. I sighed, perhaps this was the price I had to pay in this world. Blood and tears taught me this lesson: men cannot be trusted. Lan Yu came running back crying, having been wrong somewhere again. "Master doesn't believe me. I said you are dying, but he said you are just making a scene. Asking how could you die when you're fine. Saying you've faked fainting before. Saying if you admit your mistakes you should beg him personally. But you can't even get out of bed now." Just as she finished speaking, a figure appeared with a cold smile. "I want to see if this is really Dash." The moment his eyes fell on me, his gaze froze. How did you become like this? I knew my skeletal frame must have shocked him. His face turned pale, pupils constricted, and his fingers trembled as he tried to check my pulse. The pain was slowly subsiding, perhaps I was really dying. I tried to smile but unexpectedly coughed up blood instead. Wei Sixing's face instantly became a mess. The last thing I saw before closing my eyes was his face twisted in horror and despair. Good, now I can finally die. As my spirit floated in midair, I saw the wailing below. Wei Sixing held me, checking my pulse over and over, muttering constantly. How could this happen? I detoxified it. How could this happen? Lan Yu knelt crying. Madam used your prescription but got worse instead of better. I wanted to ask you to check, but Madam said it wasn't serious. Wei Sixing suddenly jumped up, eyes wide. The prescription, where is it? Lan Yu pulled out a yellowed paper. I carefully followed it ingredient by ingredient, but Madam still didn't get better. Wei Sixing's knuckles turned white as he gripped the paper. He looked around helplessly, mumbling. This isn't right. How could one ingredient be missing? How could it not be there? Lan Yu asked confused, what's missing? The muscles on Wei Sixing's face seemed to freeze. He suddenly pressed the paper to his face, threw his head back and wept, his voice hoarse. Polygonum multiflorum. So it was Polygonum multiflorum, what a coincidence. I probably wasn't completely dead yet. My soul kept floating in midair, with no sign of returning to modern times. The system was unhappy. Well, he is a divine doctor after all, even able to keep the dead alive for 2 days. I felt helpless too. Surely I wouldn't actually live again? The system firmly shook its head. Impossible. 2 days maximum, then you'll definitely scatter. No, return to modern times. Fine, I'll wait a bit longer. My body had probably become like a living corpse, breathing, able to swallow, but unable to speak or move. Wei Sixing held me like a precious treasure lost and found again. Though I couldn't speak or respond, he patiently fed me medicine and cleaned me. He kept talking to me gently. Wani, I was wrong, I wronged you, but I'll save you, trust me. I've given you painkillers, you won't hurt anymore. I've gotten the Polygonum multiflorum too, and written a new prescription. This one is definitely correct, look. He took out a fresh prescription and held it before me. My mouth tasted bitter and I suddenly spat all over the prescription. His face paled but he forced a smile as he cleaned up. It's fine, we'll write a new one. Self-deception was pointless. A servant came to report that Madam had arrived. He instantly became angry. What Madam? Your Madam is right here. Xinhua Hua was blocked at the door, her eyes blazing. Sixing, she's dead. Huani is dead, you can't save her. Wei Sixing stared at her blankly, his eyes suddenly lighting up. It was you, all because of you. If not for you, I wouldn't have missed writing one ingredient, and Wani wouldn't have died. It's all your fault, all yours. Wani suffered so much pain. If you experienced the same, Wani would be happy and come back. I vaguely felt something was wrong. Indeed, it was. Wei Sixing poisoned Xinhua Hua. Rashes, loss of speech, loss of voice, every suffering I had endured, he inflicted on Xinhua Hua one by one. He held my body, watching expressionlessly as Xinhua Hua struggled. He coaxed, Wani, look, I've avenged you, now you can come back, right? Even floating in midair, I felt chills all over. Wei Sixing had truly gone mad. The system was right. Wei Sixing kept me for 2 days. After 2 days, a white light flashed and I returned to modern times. I forgot everything and started a new life. In the 2nd year after returning, I heard news from the system. After I left, Wei Sixing went completely insane. He began writing prescriptions and making medicine day and night. Writing Polygonum multiflorum most often. When Xinhua Hua was taken away by the royal family, she was barely recognizable as human. Their crimes were made public. Xinhua Hua was sentenced to execution after autumn. Wei Sixing was spared due to the Empress Dowager's protection. But his madness meant he was never respected again. After telling me this, the system also bid farewell. All that had passed was like a dream. I took a deep breath and shook everything from my mind. The sun was bright, another fresh new day.